Y'all gonna be disappointed when Lil Baby don't show up? When Skilla don't show up? When Vizzo don't show up? When all these show up?
Problem with some rappers. Some rappers think they war ready and they beef ready till they step into the beef. And then they get somebody coming at them crazy. You know what I'm saying? Do you know what it's like to have beef with 50 Cent? Mm-hmm. 50 Cent is incredible with the beef. Not just musically, with every day he was going viral. Yo, your mother, your wife. I'm like, oh my God, this guy here. Like, don't get beef with 50 Cent.
It's wild out here because word just hit the streets that Big Meech, the original BMF boss, the man who built an empire from nothing, is straight up heated. The talk is that Meech caught wind of Rick Ross riding too close to 50 Cent, and if you know the history between those three, you already know that's dangerous territory. What started out as mutual respect, Ross saying, "I think I'm Big Meech," now feels like a straight up betrayal in Meech's eyes. And when Meech speaks, the whole game goes quiet to listen. Let's rewind the clock for a second. When Rick Ross first came up, he built a huge part of his image off BMF energy. The cars, the luxury, the boss lifestyle, all of it. His track BMF was more than just a hit, it was a movement. The streets loved it, and back then, even Big Meech respected it. He saw it as love, as Ross keeping the flame alive while he was locked down. Ross shouted out BMF in interviews, repping the lifestyle like he lived by those same codes Meech preached: loyalty, silence, honor. Back then, Meech had no problem with it because he believed Ross was paying homage, not cashing in. But times change fast. Then came 50 Cent, who flipped the BMF legacy into an entire TV empire. Shows, merch, image, everything.
I never folded, never told, never will. Death before the sun.
And even though 50 said it was all respect, Meech's people started feeling like they weren't being given proper credit. Ross was supposed to be family, so when Meech heard that Ross called 50's BMF show genius, saying 50 did his thing, it hit hard. In Meech's world, that wasn't support, that was crossing lines. Loyalty ain't flexible, it's solid like stone. You either stand with family or stand with the opposition, no in between. Now, Ross been saying for years, yo, I did that song out of love, out of respect for what Meech stood for. But Meech don't see it that way anymore, not after seeing Ross smiling next to 50. Remember, Ross and 50 been beefing for over a decade. Diss tracks, lawsuits, wild interviews, and even baby mama drama. Their feud was public. So when Meech saw Ross suddenly cozying up to 50, it didn't look like peace, it looked like strategy. The streets started whispering that Ross was picking money over loyalty, clout over code. Those whispers don't fade easy, especially when they reach a man like Big Meech. Sources close to Meech said he felt played, like how you gonna talk family forever but go congratulate the same man making millions off my name without even checking in? That's not business, that's disrespect. And coming from Meech, whose whole legacy was built on loyalty and respect, that kind of move cut deep. To Meech, this ain't about ego, it's about legacy. The man fought for his name, his empire, his brotherhood, while Ross living lavish and screaming, "I think I'm Big Meech," the real Big Meech sitting behind walls fighting for the same name Ross built his brand on. Imagine that.
So BMF is BMF, but not because of 50, it's because of Big Meech, right? That's his story, that's his life, right? So I don't think 50 doing them no favors. They both profited, right? It ain't.
Behind bars, Meech doesn't get the luxury to clap back online or post a statement. He can't jump on Instagram to set the record straight, so when Ross links up with 50, the man turning his life story into entertainment, yeah, that's gonna sting. But to be fair, Ross's camp tried to calm things down, saying, it's not about picking sides, it's about showing love to legends, keeping the culture alive. Maybe that's true in the industry world, but in the streets, that don't fly. Who you stand next to tells the whole story. You can't pop champagne with the same man your brother considers the enemy and expect everything to stay cool. Now it's all sitting in this weird tension. Big Meech feeling betrayed, Ross claiming innocence, and 50 sitting back with a grin, watching it all play out like he planned it. That's what 50 does best. Control the narrative, make everybody else dance to his rhythm. He's a master of strategy. And whether Ross meant it or not, he just stepped into 50's game. 50 even said in interviews, Meech respects what I built. We telling his story, right? But come on, that don't mean Meech co-signed everything.
I owe you no loyalty. That don't mean I can't go get money elsewhere. right? If more money get presented to me, right, I'm gonna go get me a bag. I just did 20 years in prison, right? I'm not gonna let nobody stop no bags come in because of y'all beef, bro.
He might respect the hustle, but that don't mean he's cool with the whole Hollywood version of his life being sold on TV without his say. When you're a legend like Meech, your story ain't just a show, it's your life. Every lyric, every dollar, every quote with your name on it carries weight. So when other people start profiting off it and you're not even in the room, it feels like someone using your shadow to build their kingdom. Meech been in the game long enough to see how people move when there's fame, cameras, and contracts involved. And when Ross started taking pictures with 50, posting about the BMF show like it was all love, Meech read between the lines. To him, loyalty don't come with conditions. It's either solid or it's fake.
50 had your key. Do you know what your one key? Me and you got the same key to any embarrassment. Whether it's factual or not, what is it? What's your key?
Being exposed? Lena, okay.
What really stung wasn't just Ross showing love to 50, it was that Ross built his entire boss persona off Meech's name. He called himself Big Meech in his lyrics, rocked the boss image, talked like a Don, all from the BMF playbook. So now to see him salute the same man who turned Meech's life into a TV storyline, that felt like betrayal wrapped up in applause. Meech ain't out here looking for beef. He's not trying to start a new war from behind bars, but he's making it crystal clear. Respect his name. Respect what BMF stood for. Don't cross that invisible line between tribute and exploitation, because in the streets, that line means everything. Once you cross it, there's no going back. A lot of people don't really get it. Big Meech ain't hating on success. He's not jealous of who's shining or who's getting deals. This man built his empire from the ground up by letting others win and still finding a way to create his own lane. But when someone takes your name, your story, and your entire blueprint to make money, you expect them to move with respect. You can't halfway salute a man who inspired your whole brand and then turn around and shake hands with his rival. That's the kind of thing that breaks the code. And if you're really from the streets, you know that's one rule you never break. And here's where things get cold. 50 Cent don't play checkers. He plays chess. Every move he makes got layers to it. He knows exactly how to stir things up, keep people talking, and twist the spotlight to his favor. So when Ross started showing love to 50's BMF show, 50 saw more than just support. He saw an opportunity. He saw a way to make Ross look like he was bowing down. That's 50's genius. He turns tension into headlines and headlines into cash.
I can't believe a stand-up dude doing his time would suddenly say, I don't want to be here no more. I'm gonna become a rat.
While 50's controlling the game, Meech is stuck watching it unfold from behind those prison walls. Hearing secondhand news, hearing his own name getting debated like a brand instead of a legacy. Imagine sitting in a cell, hearing folks profit off your life story while you can't even defend it. Imagine watching your old friends, the ones who used to call you family, smiling next to the man who turned your movement into primetime television. That's not just frustration. That's insult wrapped in business suits and camera lights. And Ross, man, he trying to act like everything's cool. He's on social media posting motivational quotes, laughing, doing interviews, pretending everything's all love. But the streets know better. Silence can be louder than any interview. You can say no beef all you want, but when you align with someone your brother don't rock with, that silence sounds a whole lot like bet.
I got a text from some very credible dudes who said they pressed 50 to take down all the Big Meech posts, right? Once again, I got the text, I read it out loud, I was on.
Big Meech's giant welcome home concert
I told you it was
was
gonna get
canceled.
What'd I tell you?
The bill was
What did
insane.
I say?
The list of artists on it was.
Meech came up in an era where every handshake meant something. Every word was a bond. Every promise was like a contract sealed with loyalty. So when he hears Ross talking about how the business made him do it, it don't sound like logic. It sounds like excuses. And people felt that. Social media lit up. Fans flooded comments saying Ross forgot where that boss energy came from. They said the same thing Meech was thinking, that Ross borrowed the boss image, but Meech created the blueprint. The internet don't miss a thing, and even though Meech can't go live or post a statement, his voice still moves through his people. They made it clear, Meech ain't feeling the energy, he doesn't need to rant. His silence speaks loud enough, and the wild part, the street's been waiting for a moment like this. Two eras of power finally colliding. The old school street code versus the new school luxury boss era. Meech represents that raw discipline, honor, codes, and the kind of loyalty that don't bend for fame.
Dude, quit playing with dude. You know, I'm gonna say that much. Over and out. I catch y'all when I catch y'all. It's
Ross represents the champagne lifestyle, designer suits, Lambos, mansions, and Maybachs. And then there's 50, the master manipulator, the man who learned to turn street cred into Hollywood gold. When all three names collide, that's history meeting strategy, and every move matters. See, Ross probably thought he was playing it smart, keeping peace with both sides, staying neutral. But in this game, neutrality don't exist. You can't stand in the middle when the foundation of your fame came from one side. You either stand with the name that gave you your identity, or with the man making a profit off that same name. Try to balance it, and you end up losing respect from both. Right now, Ross is losing respect from the side that once crowned him the boss, the same side that inspired his biggest anthem. That's irony at its finest, and that's the part that cuts deep, because Ross been talking loyalty since day one. Every track, every interview, he preaching self-made, boss moves, Maybach music, but those words came straight from that BMF spirit, that belief in brotherhood before fame, family before money.
Look, I do want to do a BMF film because you've been entertained by a lackluster, small budget series. Now it's time to do a big budget film.
Yet when it came time to live by those words, the actions didn't match the motto. Meech's people even said it. We not asking Ross for money or shout-outs, we just asking him to stand on the same principles he built his name on. That's not hate, that's real talk. They don't want a public apology, just acknowledgement. A simple, yo, I got love for Meech and the family, I'll never disrespect that bond. That's all it takes. But instead, Ross playing it safe. He's staying silent, trying to protect his image, hoping the noise fades out. But it won't, because when it comes to BMF, nothing fades. That name got weight, and every whisper echoes through the streets. Ross might think ignoring it will make it disappear, but he forgot. Meech built his name on loyalty that lasts generations. And let's be honest, if Meech was free right now, Ross would not be moving like this. The energy would be completely different. Meech would have that face-to-face talk, not no internet subliminals or misunderstandings. He'd handle it man-to-man. No cameras, no PR teams. But since he's behind those walls, people think they can twist the story, stretch the truth, and hide behind business. They think he's too far away to check it, but that's where they're wrong. Meech's presence still moves through every hood, every club, every city where that blue BMF flag ever waved. His name still rings through Atlanta, Detroit, Miami, everywhere that legacy touched. When he says he's disappointed, that echo travels fast. It hits every corner of the industry, even if people pretend not to hear it. And deep down, Ross knows that's real. That's why he's quiet right now. Because if he truly believed he did nothing wrong, he'd speak on it just like he always does. But this time, he's laying low, hoping the smoke clears. But see, that's the problem. Loyalty don't fade with time. It's either real or it's fake. And once it's cracked, it never looks the same again. You can patch it, you can paint over it, but that trust, it's gone.
Put your back against the wall and just slide down. You already know, car show going down June 7th. Get online right now, get your tickets right now. But for the hustlers, I want y'all to understand you gotta stop making business personal.
And in the world Meech came from, cracks in loyalty can turn into full-blown earthquakes. Right now, things at a standstill. No direct shots, no apologies, just tension floating in the air. But one thing's for sure, Meech's message is loud and clear. If you scream BMF, you better mean it with your chest. Now everything hanging by a thread, loyalty, legacy, and reputation. Nobody's saying it out loud, but the tension between Big Meech, Rick Ross, and 50 Cent is so thick you could slice it with a blade. This ain't just about who said what online. This is deeper. This is about the foundation of what BMF stood for. Brotherhood, respect, and the kind of code that built empires before the cameras ever showed up. Meech watching all of this unfold from behind those walls, and he's not screaming, not ranting. He's just letting the silence speak louder than any diss track could. And that silence is heavy. It's making everyone around the situation move different, because if you know Meech, you know he's never been one for loud threats or online drama. He moves with purpose. When he says something, the streets listen. Not because he's shouting, but because his name still carries weight everywhere, from Atlanta to Detroit to Miami. And now, with this tension building, the same streets that once chanted, "I think I'm Big Meech," are side-eyeing the man who started that chant. Rick Ross. Folks are whispering, asking if Ross really stood on what he preached, or if the boss image was just another marketing costume. Meanwhile, 50 sitting on his throne like a general, watching his plan play out. Say what you want about him, but 50 Cent's a strategist. He knows how to turn tension into TV, how to flip street buzz into trending hashtags, and how to make the world talk about him. Ross probably thought showing love to the BMF show would just look like support, but in 50's world, everything's a move. And this one made Ross look like he crossed over. It's wild, because while Ross trying to show respect, he accidentally gave 50 exactly what he wanted. Leverage over the man who once said, "I think I'm Big Meech." And that's what really burns Meech. He sees through it all. He's seen this industry chew people up, flip stories, twist words, and profit off real pain. He ain't new to this. He's watched people take his name, his empire, and his legacy and turn it into a brand. And now, after years of silence, after staying patient while the world used his name for entertainment, he's watching it turn into a circus. To him, that's not just business. That's betrayal with a smile on it. But here's the truth. Meech don't want no street war, no chaos, no headlines. What he wants is respect, plain and simple.
What up, though? Boss of all bosses. And today I'm coming to tell all my supporters, if you're a business owner, entrepreneur, whatever you got, you trying to make it go up, hit me right now.
When he says BMF, it ain't about money or fame. It's about honor. It's about standing tall when the world tries to knock you down. So when people like Ross, who once built their image on that same energy, start cozying up to someone who capitalized off his story, it feels like spitting on the foundation that made them who they are. Meech ain't asking for handouts or attention. He's demanding recognition for the code he built his life on. Let's be real. Ross wouldn't even have that boss image without Meech, that whole Maybach music persona. The Rolls Royces, the silk shirts, the cigars, the champagne, all that came from the BMF playbook. Meech lived that life before it became lyrics. But the difference? Meech earned it through loyalty, not industry politics. And now, to see Ross use that blueprint and then show love to 50, a man who made millions turning Meech's life into a show, that's the ultimate twist. It's like watching someone copy your whole homework, then give credit to the teacher instead of you. And still, Meech moves with class. No social media meltdown, no public shade. He letting the streets do the talking because the real ones know what's up. The real ones remember who started the boss talk, who built the movement that half the industry mimics today. You can't rewrite history, not when the name Big Meech still echoes louder than any record label. And Ross knows that. Deep down, he knows that without Meech, his image wouldn't hit the same. That's why he's been quiet. Because how do you explain smiling with the same man who turned your inspiration into a TV drama? There's no clean way to spin that. Now, this situation got everyone watching closely. Fans, rappers, even executives are waiting to see if Ross gonna reach out, fix things privately, or just let it fade. But one thing about the streets, they never forget who stayed solid and who folded when it mattered most. Loyalty don't come with expiration dates. It's either real or it's fake. And once you show cracks, people see you different forever. And if we being honest, Ross knows the storm ain't over. He can act unbothered all he wants, post quotes about peace and prosperity. But behind the scenes, he's checking calls, watching who speaks on it, and praying it dies down. Because when it comes to BMF, things don't fade, they echo. Every move Ross makes now gets watched under a microscope because folks waiting to see if he gonna stand tall or keep ducking the smoke. Meanwhile, 50's still capitalizing. He's teasing more BMF projects, more episodes, more interviews, knowing every new release keeps his name and the controversy alive. And Ross, he's caught in between. Too prideful to apologize, too aware to ignore it completely. That's the trap fame sets. You can build a castle off someone's legacy, but when the foundation cracks, your throne starts shaking. Meech, on the other hand, still standing tall, even from behind bars. his name still ringing out like a battle cry. When people chant Free Big Meech, it's not just a slogan. It's a reminder that real power can't be erased by distance or time. Ross might have borrowed the boss talk, but Meech is the blueprint. Always was, always will be. And no matter how the story gets twisted, no matter how many people try to profit off his name, one truth remains solid. You can imitate the lifestyle, but you can't copy the legacy. So as this story unfolds, one thing's clear. The line between admiration and exploitation got crossed. Ross thought he was playing it cool, but in Meech's world, cool don't cut it. Respect does. And if there's one thing the streets learned from this, it's that loyalty still got a price tag you can't fake. Because when it comes to Big Meech, the legend himself, his name don't just live in lyrics. It lives in the code, the culture, and the heartbeat of the streets that still scream his name with pride.